Who's going to lead the ACC in passing yards? Who's going to lead the ACC in receiving yards? Who's going to lead the ACC in rushing yards? BetOnline has put out their odds. They put out their betting odds on those exact categories. You can bet on some futures. I can tell you right now, there's some disrespect. Tell you right now, there's some temptation to bet on some of the local guys because I think the odds are there, right? I think the value is there. But there's one that stood out that I'm going to start with. ACC rushing yards leaders. Best odds, meaning the smallest payout, the shortest odds of anyone in the conference to lead the ACC in rushing yards, Davion Goss. Running back, North Carolina. I find that fascinating. Davion Goss had 326 yards rushing last year, and 105 of them came against Charlotte in the first game of the year when Omarion Hampton got hurt. Other than that, no game more than 54 yards, and that was against Florida State, who Florida State.
Yeah, they stunk.
And UNC won 35-11, so you'd think it was, probably not the most high leverage rushing yards of the day. It is very interesting to me what's happening with gambling lines in the North Carolina Tar Heels. Now, the thing with gambling lines is, it's kind of a mix of what the sports book thinks going to happen and also protecting themselves against what the overwhelming Joe public would bet on, right? They don't want to be too exposed. So it could just be they know that anybody involved with Belichick is going to be over bet, so they shorten the odds to limit how much will be thrown on there or how much winnings they would be at stake for. But Goss ahead of everybody in the league is fascinating to me. I'm starting to get a little bit of the feeling that there's something about UNC that we don't know. Something that we can't put our finger on. Because when you see, for most books, the win totals on the season, UNC has a higher win total than, say, Duke. And I'm going, Duke has won 8-9 games each of the last 3 years. UNC hasn't and flipped over their entire roster and is expected to have some growing pains. You look at something like, name your running back in the league. Davion Goss is sitting at the best odds. Now, Hollywood Smothers is a player that showed, I would say, similar flashes to Davion Goss last year, right? And maybe even more, okay? Because, his breakouts kind of came later in the season rather than earlier in the season for NC State. He has the 14th best odds to lead the conference in rushing yards, 22-1. You get Goss at 11-2. You get Smothers at 22-1. And both, by the way, it's not like it's their own backfield. They got to prove it. And if they want to be the workhorse, they got to go be effective with it. Jaquez Moore for Duke at 8th. That one's fascinating to me. Damon Claiborne, 10th best odds, 14-1. Jaquez Moore, 12-1. And then there's weirder things still. Thomas Castellanos, the quarterback for Florida State, has the 13th best odds, which means he is 20-1. You win less money picking you win more money picking Hollywood Smothers to lead the league in rushing yards than if you picked Florida State's quarterback, Thomas Castellanos.
And people don't realize that in college football, if you are sacked on a passing play, that counts against your rushing stats as a QB as well.
So Castellanos would have to rush for, in traditional running plays where he gains yards, not only more than Hollywood Smothers, who I think is a very talented running back, but more than Hollywood Smothers plus overcoming all of the sack yardage that he suffers as a quarterback.
Yeah.
So there's the rushing yards, there's some blinking, I don't get this.
Yeah, the Goss one is interesting in the fact that, I know we're going to talk about this at 3:45 regarding UNC football, is the fact that we don't know anything about their offense. We don't know who their quarterback's going to be. We don't know what kind of system they're going to run. We don't know if Goss is even going to be the primary ball carrier. We just simply don't know.
And if everyone, coaching staff, offensive scheme, and everything were returning from last year, I could go, all right, they're expecting him to jump into the Omarion Hampton role and get all those carries. We don't know if there's an Omarion Hampton role.
No.
He might be jumping into the James White, Stephen Ridley combo from the Patriots in 2012 or whatever it was.
It could be a 1-2 with Caleb Hood for all we know. We simply don't know.
ACC receiving yards leader. This one was fascinating. The top is what you expect. The players that had big. The first three are all, Clemson, Louisville, whatever. But the fourth best odds, 8-1, so the fourth shortest odds, to lead the ACC in receiving yards is Andrell Anthony, the transfer incoming to Duke from Oklahoma, who spent 2 years at Michigan with minimal production, 2 years at Oklahoma with minimal production. Now he comes to Duke, and they're giving him the fourth best odds to lead the league in receiving yards.
Probably anticipating he's going to get the ball a lot. Just a ton of targets.
And probably a nod towards Mensa being really good, and I think that he'll open it up a bit more.
I think it's also how do the sports books think Duke's going to finish this year? They feel like they're trailing in games. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot more. Hey, guess what? Those yards are yards no matter what time of game they come.
In the top 15, there was one UNC wide receiver. It was Kobe Paysour and not Jordan Shipp. 18-1, 10th best odds. Noah Rogers, who's perceived to be the number one wide receiver for NC State, former five-star, transferred in from Ohio State last year, is tied with Carlos Hernandez from Wake for the 11th best odds at 20-1. There are certain parts of these odds that make, like, this is how I think of gambling in a lot of ways. When I start thinking, they don't pay attention like we do. Right? They don't know Jordan Shipp's about to break out. They don't know that Hollywood Smothers is pretty good. They don't know. It's really dangerous when you start thinking you know more than Vegas knows. It's really dangerous, but I'm starting to get there. ACC passing yards leaders, sixth best odds, 14-1, Darian Mensah. Gio Lopez, who, by the way, hasn't even been named the starter at UNC, 25-1. That's good for eighth shortest odds. CJ Bailey, 66-1, 11th shortest odds. And Robbie Ashford, who hasn't won the job outright yet at Wake Forest, transferred from South Carolina. Prior to that, he was at Auburn. Prior to that, he was at Oregon. And he went to he went to Hoover High School. Remember Two-A-Days on MTV? He went to that high school. Fun fact. He's 100-1. He has the 17th odds, lowest of anyone listed. That is, looking at the way either the public is betting the odds or how BetOnline sees it, I better tune into this ACC season because I can't predict a darn thing. If they're right and I'm wrong, I'm going to be watching every week going, wow, got that way off. They have Kobe Paysour as the 10th best odds in the league to lead the league in receiving. I'd be surprised if he leads UNC. Hollywood Smothers 14th and Jaquez Moore 8th from 12-1 for Moore to 22-1 for Hollywood Smothers. I'd be surprised if Smothers doesn't have more rushing yards than Moore. And that's just off of what I think their roles will be more so than their talent. I'm not knocking Jaquez Moore. I think he's going to be catching passes, and I think he's going to be used more sparingly for big plays. There's a chance Hollywood Smothers and Duke Scott are the drivers of that offense for NC State.